Television highlights of the news of yesteryear. Rockefeller's Road to Riches. In late 1800s, lone wooden derrick of oil well gushes black gold onto bleak plains of southwest United States. Great reservoir of petroleum has suddenly been tapped, and workers drill wide and deep around Initial Strike in search of other avenues to lake of oil which lies beneath the soil. It's birth of giant industry and first milestone to riches for John Davison Rockefeller. Weed-like growth of automobile business zooms need for oil and gasoline, and every gallon burned means money for those with oil to sell. King of oil men is John Davison Rockefeller Sr., here in his 80s, and in near retirement in his cottage at Ormond, Florida, on banks of Halifax River. Yes, this is his Florida home, and this is John D.'s modest place of worship. And here's one of world's wealthiest men giving away that famous and inevitable dime. Though pressing 90, he plays golf almost every day, and robustly too. Typical of his golfing partners are men like Dr. Cornelius Wilkin of New York's Park Avenue Baptist Church. Another is Rockefeller's Florida neighbor, 92-year-old Adelbert Ames, then only surviving general of Civil War. His millions made, aged John D. Rockefeller enjoys last years of busy life as moneyed monarch should. Once mere clerk in commission house, Rockefeller parlayed oil into fortune running into hundreds of millions of dollars. But by 1921, he had given over $500 million to philanthropic and charitable organizations and established famed Rockefeller Foundation, corporation whose business is charity. In 1928, John Davison Rockefeller Jr., now head of his father's still expanding empire, joins Chairman Nye of Senate Oil Committee during investigation of Continental Oil scandal in nation's capital. John D. Jr. is mirrored image of his illustrious father in actions as well as bearing and looks. Under his guidance, Rockefeller millions are put to good use. He buys historic town of Williamsburg, Virginia, and at cost of $5 million restores its long-neglected buildings, among them this home where Washington and Lafayette once conferred. Here with Mr. Rockefeller is Dr. W.A.R. Goodwin, who urged Rockefeller to save Williamsburg from the ravages of weather and time. And in New York City, Rockefeller millions build this memorial to Laura Spellman, late wife of John Sr., housing world's largest carillon, its tallest church ever built, its graceful tower overlooking picturesque Riverside Drive. Here's John D. leaving church just a few weeks before another great milestone in history of Rockefeller family. For 50 years, main office and nerve center of Rockefeller Corp, mountain range of buildings built by Rockefeller millions. And then in 1947, wealth of the Rockefeller family is put to greatest use of all. For United Nations, Trigg-Willee Center accepts from Nelson Rockefeller check for $8,500,000. Purchase price of site for United Nations building. Rockefeller millions, founded on precious oil, is poured into search for rarest, most priceless element on earth, everlasting peace.
In 1936 in Philadelphia, zither players give concert as highlight of meeting for players of rare and long outmoded musical instrument. Two types of zithers are represented as players perform on zithers that must be plucked, as well as those employing a bow. This was favorite instrument of peasants in Swiss and Bavarian Alps for many years.
Yost, coach of University of Michigan's famous point-a-minute team, coaches his charges in a few fine points of the Wolverines' winning ways. Following many years of success as field coach, Yost moved to desk job as director of athletics at Michigan, one of the biggest athletic jobs in Big Ten.
Here's Mrs. O.H.P. Belmont. Born in Mobile, Alabama, educated in France, married to Oliver Hazard Perry Belmont in 1896, she was in her time one of America's leading and best-known socialites. Mrs. O.H.P. Belmont, one-time queen of society.
On horseback, when not flying his plane, here's cowboy Edward Gibson, better known for his hazardous Hollywood adventures as Hoot Gibson. Hoot first appeared on screen as replacement for retiring cowboy king Tom Mix, soon won loyal following of his own. Cincinnati shoreline. It's 1913, and waters of rising Ohio River inundate Cincinnati waterfront, forcing thousands to flee from submerged warehouses and homes. During night of March 27th, flooded river rose more than 3 feet, unexpected speed doing tremendous damage and causing loss of several lives. Next morning, hundreds are forced to row to safety, and even on higher ground of Cincinnati suburbs, water covers streets, fills basements, brings damage and more death. In other towns and cities on flood-racked banks of Ohio, damage is great, death toll tragically high. Up in Dayton, on flooding Ohio tributary, fires add to horror of disaster by water. Militia shoot several caught looting in stricken area. In Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, and Illinois, on both sides of river, damage and death are everywhere in one of Ohio Valley's most vicious floods.
Dr. Marston's Love Meter. It's January 31st, 1928, and at Columbia University, Dr. William Marston tests his latest invention, the Love Meter. He's going to find out whether blondes or brunettes react more to love. With Garbo and John Gilbert to demonstrate, girls react aplenty, with running record of results showing on graph of meter. When results are interpreted, Dr. Marston declares gentlemen may prefer blondes, but brunettes prefer love scenes.
Crossing Crater Lake. In 1930, planes of Army Air Force make first journey across beautiful volcanic lake in southern Oregon. 10,000 years ago, this was Mount Mazama, which blew its top, fried the Klamath Plateau for 25 miles around in boiling lava. 6 inches of powdered pumice covered more than 5,000 square miles of Oregon forest and field. A mere 5,000 years ago, minor eruption in center of crater built cone now rising in center of lake, now known as Wizard Island. Yes, Crater Lake is placid water now, but not so long ago. In geological time, this was bottomless pit of boiling and bubbling lava, one of North America's most violent volcanoes.
Fashions and fans. In Paris in the long ago, or not so long ago if you remember a hairdo such as this, young model shows latest in fan creations. Should she be shy this evening behind this hand-painted flutterer, or would she have more allure peeking over this fence of egret feathers? Nothing too out of date about this needlepoint bag, but it is small. Has she given up on what fan will please her fans? Oh no, here's the one that'll do it. On the beach at Palm Beach in the teens. Suits with skirts and long hose are the fashion for proper bathing. Beauty on the beach didn't show much beauty, and the clothes she wore pretty nearly covered the beach. Since these are bathing ensembles, just imagine what Sally wore on more formal occasions. Well, the ocean looks good on her anyway.
One of New York City's finest. He's Police Captain Matt McGrath, famed Olympic athlete. And here's how he won hammer throw in international games from 1916 through 1932. Here's slow motion version of same throw, showing style that set world record during games at Antwerp. 179 feet, 8 inches. Yes, it's Matt McGrath, one of finest of New York's finest, and for almost 2 decades, greatest weight thrower in the world. At Epsom Downs in 1928, horses parade to post for start of Metropolitan Handicap. In barrier, notice horses are prepared to run track counterclockwise, and they're off. Large field spreads out even as horses speed by grandstand early in race. Down straightaway, horse on inside rail has the lead. Rounding far turn and coming into the stretch and finish wire, Alacrity is in the lead and trying to hold it. It's Alacrity by a neck, and by a neck he wins. Alacrity, 1928 winner of England's Metropolitan Handicap.